Today we're going to talk about McDonald's and specifically a press release slash open letter that came out last night or yesterday entitled Providing Meaningful Value to Our Fans with a Side of Facts. The following is an open letter from Joe Erlinger, president of McDonald's USA. I want to talk about this open letter because, quite frankly, it's insulting and it is insane to me that McDonald's wants to take this tact after deliberately price gouging consumers for years, and especially over the last couple years, insanely raising prices, and then trying to put out this message, this corporate message, basically telling you that you're stupid and that you're an idiot for believing anything you see on the internet, and that McDonald's didn't raise their prices at all. They just raised them for inflation only, and they didn't overcharge anything, and you're an idiot if you believe that. That's essentially what this open letter is telling people. Instead of going the route of Taco Bell or Jack in the Box, who decided that after ripping people off and losing customers and hitting the point where they're charging too much and they need to get value customers back, they'd throw some smoke and mirrors and make a new value menu, the under $3 menu, the under $4 menu, with some new items while shrinking the other items, while still record-breaking profits and charging more money for less food, but kind of putting on a little smoke and mirrors so that, they might trick somebody. McDonald's apparently decided to go the exact opposite direction and just insult everybody and just straight up tell you that if you think that they're price gouging you, then you're wrong and you're a liar. That is essentially their route. Instead of trying to win consumers back, instead of trying to win people back who are broke, who are the biggest fast food consumers, people who don't make that much money buy a lot of fast food. That's just the way it is. Everybody understands that, but instead of embracing that, these companies price gouged us, and it's a fact. It's a matter of fact. Now, they're going to argue in this letter that it's not a matter of fact, but the way they do that is by obfuscating things and trying to throw you off of the real numbers. They accuse other stores, they accuse general fast food prices of going up more than their prices. So they're obviously fair because in general fast food prices went up more, but they don't really tell you exactly how that's formulated. They have sources and all that good stuff, but I didn't look through all of it. I looked through some of it, and I'm sure that if you did look through it, all of their facts would probably be technically correct. The problem is that technically correct doesn't really mean much when you're talking about something like a franchise such as McDonald's, because these numbers can be manipulated in any number of ways because it's a giant corporation. The numbers may average out to be one thing, but in reality, it's a different thing in different regions or different areas and all that good stuff, which partly explains the TikTok $18 burger, which they bring up, which they do not refute, is in fact a real thing, which is probably, that's the first thing. When I read that, and let me find the sentence here, because when I read about this sentence that Joe Erlinger wrote about the TikTok $18 McDonald's burger, I was immediately pissed. My blood boiled because it's clear that this guy is, he's just a corporate shill. He doesn't give a shit about anybody. McDonald's doesn't care about you. They never did. If they ever cared about consumers, they wouldn't be at this point. They're backtracking because they've been price gouging. That's the matter of fact. The reason this press release exists is because they were price gouging, and they know that they're losing people, and now that the numbers are finally catching up with them that, oh, we're starting to lose people, we've hit our point where we're charging too much, let's get some value back, they want to bamboozle you, they want to draw you back in, and now McDonald's is saying, hey, it's not our fault, it's you guys, and at the end they say, but, we're going to bring value back because we're going to have a $5 meal coming up, but what does that even mean? Because that $5 meal would have been $4 a couple of years ago because everything on it is $1 or was $1 not too long ago. So a $5 meal isn't really an exciting prospect, honestly. But whatever. Let me try and find this sentence real fast. I can tell you that it frustrates and worries me and many of our franchisees when I hear about an $18 Big Mac meal being sold. Even if it was at one location in the US out of more than 13,700. More worrying, though, is when people believe that this is the rule and not the exception, or when folks start to suggest that the price of a Big Mac has risen over 100% since 2019. Or 100%, not over 100%, has risen 100% since 2019. When that is a complete, it's complete spin of the truth. Everybody knows that the $18 McDonald's meal is not the average. Everybody who saw that knows it's not the average. It's indicative of an average price increase that everybody knows, sees, and feels. It's reality. You can't just say, hey, it's not true when everybody, sees it daily. McDonald's is something that people drive by all the time. They see the prices of it all the time. People go there a lot. People eat there a lot. People, other people around them eat McDonald's. It's very common. So it's something that people know the prices of. If there's any fast food place that people know what the prices of things are, it's probably McDonald's. So you really are trying to spin something here by saying that, oh, this $18 Big Mac TikTok was tricking people into thinking McDonald's is raising their prices when they aren't. When no, it's not. Everybody who watched that TikTok video knows that the $18 Big Mac is at that location and not the price everywhere. But they also know that the price everywhere is higher than it was a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. People aren't that stupid. But that's basically what he's telling us, is that we're idiots because we're believing a TikTok video. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. He's trying to treat everybody like children when, I think people are smarter than that. That's what pisses me off about this press release so much. It is horrible, horrible, horrible for somebody that's the president of McDonald's to say that line, honestly. Let me go down it a little bit more because I hate everything about it. I hate corporate spin in general. Whenever anybody who's a corporate executive at any level tries to relate to you, if you're not a millionaire or at least a millionaire, probably more rich than that, it's not true. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to trick you. It's not. There is no relation there. It's a business. You can say, hey, I'm Joe Erlinger, president of McDonald's. Yeah, you're the president of McDonald's, and what you're saying is in the capacity of a huge mega corporation that wants to make money. Nothing you're saying is real. You have to look at the intention behind everything a company says, because every word of this has gone probably through hundreds of people, many lawyers, to come out to be a coherent message that they're trying to send. And sometimes at first glance, you can't really see that message, and that's the problem with this, because they're trying to spin a message that, hey, don't believe things you see on the internet. We're not overcharging. All these videos are fake. You're being fooled. Influencers, blah, blah, blah. We're not that. We're your friend. We're McDonald's. We've always been a value for our customers. Starting with this sentence, the first sentence. I still remember the excitement I felt as a kid when my parents turned into a McDonald's. I think back to that almost every day in my job running McDonald's USA. While I didn't realize it then, it wasn't just the great burgers and fries that made McDonald's a destination for the Erlingers. It was knowing my parents could count on their local McDonald's for a convenient, affordable meal for the whole family. That's just as important today. Americans across the country are making tough calls about where to spend their hard-earned money. And while we've been working hard to make sure our fans have great reason to visit us, it's clear that we, together with our franchisees, must remain laser-focused on value and affordability. It's what our brand was built on, and we are committed to living up to that legacy, especially at a time when our customers need it most. That's probably the single most insulting line of the entire thing. It's what our brand was built on. We are committed to living up to the legacy, especially at a time when our customers need us most. Imagine that. Especially at a time when our customers need us most. I want you to think about that in in retrospect of the whole situation. Understand that COVID is essentially the reason why we are here where we are. COVID drove people to stay home. A lot of people ordered food. Fast food went up. It was a business. The whole market was uplifted by COVID, essentially. COVID got a lot more people buying McDonald's, buying fast food in general, and that is when they realized that they could charge more. That's why in 2022 and then in 2023 especially, and now starting to go into 2024, halfway through, I guess, you see it. You see the rise starting slowly, but then even more ridiculous to the point now where it's people, make these TikTok videos because it's so ridiculous. And they're not making the video to say, hey, every burger's $18. They're making it to say, hey, it's ridiculous. And everybody knows that. And they, at McDonald's specifically, did not help their customers when they needed it most. And they will not help their customers when they need it most. That's just a matter of fact. When we needed help the most was during the pandemic. And what did they do in that time? Instead of making things more affordable, they made things more expensive. Now, you can argue all their operating costs and all that stuff, but it's BS. They've just made more and more record profits every year since, and the reason they're doing it and how they're doing it is by gouging people. And now they're reaping their rewards, which is that people like me and everybody else who doesn't make that much money, let's say under $100,000 a year, are just not going. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while, I've cut down my fast food a lot. I still eat fast food. I love it. But I used to eat a lot more fast food, and now I just simply can't. I just simply cannot afford it. It's not even a matter of, preference. It's not a matter of I want to save money. I can't. I cannot afford to go to McDonald's and spend, $15 for one meal. It's just not going to work for me, and that is what I'm going to spend. It just doesn't work. And a lot of people, it just doesn't work, especially if you have a family. Imagine, it's impossible. Like, even buying food for myself is extremely expensive, but imagine trying to buy food for your family. When I was a kid, there was actual value. We used to go through and, get dollar items. The dollar menu was a savior for us as a family, because you could feed the whole family for basically under $20. Now you can't feed a family of four for like under $40 if you're lucky. It's almost impossible, So yeah, it's just something everybody knows. Everybody knows that we're being ripped off, and for the president of McDonald's to come out and say, no, you're wrong. And they put out, some facts. McDonald's raised prices at a rate nearly double the national rate of inflation. They say that's a myth and that it's false. McDonald's 5-year price increases are closely connected to the increase of costs to run restaurants, which have gone up. This includes increases in restaurant crew salaries, up approximately 40% from 2019, which I don't know if that's true. That says from data accessible, doesn't actually say what the data is. And food/paper costs, also known as cost of goods, up approximately 35% since 2019. Otherwise, the average input costs, salaries, food, and paper, are up 40% over the past 5 years. The average price of McDonald's item is also up 40% over the past 5 years. So, yeah, in that little blurb, they also reveal that since 2019, their prices have gone up 40%. Is that right? Does that sound right to you? Like, even if you want to account for inflation, it doesn't seem like prices should go up 40%. I know why they went up during the pandemic when the supply lines and things were like that. But since then, a lot of prices have come down, but mysteriously, the fast food prices haven't come down, right? This data, it really makes me think, like, where are they pulling this data from to say that the prices are still that high when they might not be? Prices are going down now, so they might just take what was the historic high price and use that as their option, I don't know. This is all alleged. Don't sue me, but don't believe these numbers. I'm sure somebody will fact check them. And again, I'm sure if you look at the data that they use, it was probably correct. But the fact of the matter is that the data that they use is what they pick and you can pick any data you want to make any point you want when you're a corporation using your own internal data. There's nobody that can really fact check them in general about a lot of these things. You can fact check them versus general inflation rate or like prices that increase, but you don't have the internal numbers to compare that they do. So you have to take them at face value, which you never, ever should. Myth. McDonald's raised prices so much that their average menu prices increased more than 3 times the average rate of inflation. False. This is simply not true. McDonald's overall 5-year increases are closely connected to the cost of increase to run restaurants, which have gone up. These prices and costs do not reflect a 3 times increase over the national rate of inflation. In fact, when you look at the average 2019 menu prices of core food entrees that were not promoted discounted and compare the prices today, the rate of increase is slower than the rate of the inflation, according to them. For example, the average price of an Egg McMuffin in 2019 was $3.49, and in 2024 it's $4.29. This is maybe where I'm getting a little confused, because I feel like, again, they're cherry picking data here. They're picking the Egg McMuffin, right? This is like Taco Bell picking the taco. The Egg McMuffin is an overpriced item already, right? People don't order the Egg McMuffin. It's only there for people who don't want meat. You can get a sausage and Egg McMuffin usually for the same price or sometimes even cheaper than the Egg McMuffin. The Egg McMuffin is a very niche core menu item. Not a lot of people get it. It's always been at a premium, just like how Taco Bell charges a premium for a crunchy taco. You know, you can go to Taco Bell, a crunchy taco will be like $2, right? But they'll have a promo where they introduce a new taco that's $1.50, and you wonder to yourself, well, why is this cheaper? It's not cheaper for them. It's just that the taco is a prestige kind of core item that people that buy it. So they keep the price high on it. And it's the same with the Egg McMuffin. They know they're going to get people who want a McMuffin but don't want the sausage will buy this, even though the price doesn't make sense, right? So that's why they've kept it, and that's a weird example to use. Then they went on to the quarter pounder with cheese, which I guess is not necessarily falling in that category. The average price of a quarter pounder with cheese in 2019 was $4.49, and in 2024 is $5.39 for a price increase of 20%. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like the average price of a quarter pounder with cheese was $4.49 in 2019. That feels like it's a little high to me. I don't know. I guess maybe you could find that out, but I feel like in 2019 I was getting quarter pounders 2 for $5. And again, they're not using promotional prices for a reason, because that would expose them even more, because they had much better promotions back in the day compared to what they have now. The reason they're using menu prices is because they can screw with those. You know, their menu prices were already high because they ran promotions, so they didn't have to raise the menu prices of menu items too high. They're only quoting items that are already expensive, like the Egg McMuffin, quarter pounder with cheese, and the filet of fish. They're not mentioning the double cheeseburger, the McDouble, or things like that, the value menu items, the McChicken. They're not bringing up those price increases because those have increased way more than 20% if you look at those prices. But the way that they frame it, you won't think of it that way. So hopefully everybody's following what I'm saying, but I could be completely insane. So I hope this is all making sense. McDonald's price increases myth. This is my favorite one. The fact that McDonald's had to put this out or chose to put this out as a message really tells me that there's something wrong. Myth. McDonald's price increases are the result of greed and price gouging. And they say that's false. Surprise. McDonald's overall 5-year price increases are closely connected to the cost of gone restaurants, which has gone up, as they said before. Average price increases at McDonald's are within the range of other quick service restaurant price increases over the past 5 years. Again, not specific. In the range could mean anything. What does the range mean? What are we talking about when you say in the range? You know, what's the average price increase then across the board? If it's 20%, would your price increases being 40% be in the range? I don't know, because they don't say. So, great. Restaurant margins are largely the same today as they were in 2019, which is the opposite of so-called gouging. It's just BS, you know. They're just trying to win you back after screwing you over, but don't let this work, you know. They're going to take different tacks with different people. As I said, they're going to trick people with the menu. McDonald's is doing this now, and then they're going to introduce the $5 value meal, right? They're going to get people talking about this, including me, and most people, I think, are probably not going to be critical of it because they never are. That's the problem. I looked up this story. I saw 10 different news stories from local newspapers, from big news outlets, where they just go over this press release, don't question a fucking thing in it, don't look at the wording, and just agree with everything it says and provide it as fact, because that's what lazy news reporters do. You know, they're looking at this and they say, oh, McDonald's says that this is this and this is this. They put that out as a news story, bing, boom, bam, people see that, and that's all that people are going to see. That's probably the point of McDonald's putting this out, because they know every news outlet pretty much is just going to put these numbers out, these facts and myths out in their news stories without any context and without any questioning, without any sort of fact checking, and just go with it. And that's what's going to spread out in the world. It's going to be, oh, did you hear McDonald's is talking about value now? They said that they're going to focus on value and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll go back to McDonald's. Don't. Please, for the love of God, anybody who sees this message, hears this message, just don't. I understand that you want to go to McDonald's, fine. I go to McDonald's sometimes, okay. My ask, please, is when they release the $5 value menu, value meal, which is going to be crap, which is basically going to be a McDouble and a small fry and a drink with 4 nuggets, which is crap. When they release that, don't go. Even if you like it, even if you think it's an okay deal and you want to grab it, just don't. Or if you do go, do not get the $5 meal. Please. I want them to see the metrics on this $5 value meal crash and burn. That's the only thing that's going to send another message, because so far we have, as consumers, sent the message that we can't afford fast food anymore because we can't. That's just real. So now they want to try to win us back with half-hearted bullshit and half-hearted offers and crap instead of just lowering the prices. That's what we want. Honestly, that's what we should all ask. We should say, hey, enough with the BS, enough with the promos. I don't want a $5 meal. If you want me to go back to McDonald's, just lower the price of the core items. Make a double cheeseburger, not, $4. Make it under $3, please. Bring the McChicken back to under $2 instead of being $3 again. It's like, bring it back to what it was only a year ago, and maybe we'll come back. But it's not. I just don't want this to work. I really hope that this corporate strategy of trying to lure people back in with this BS just doesn't work. I mean, it probably will, unfortunately. But you never know. Maybe it won't. Maybe we'll finally flip the curve and screw these companies because they don't like you. I don't care what company it is. They don't like you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your value. They don't care about your family. They care about your money. That's all they care about, is how much money they can get out of you. And you have to be the warden of that and fight back. And the only way to do that is to vote with your wallet and also with your voice, or, make a video like mine. Tell somebody. Share this. Comment on the news story and say, hey, have you looked at this? What does these numbers mean? Question it. Go on Twitter or X or Instagram or whatever. Spread the word. Go on TikTok. Tell them this is bullshit. Spread it around. Let the world know that we're not going to be tricked, hopefully. That's the goal. Anyway, thank you for coming to my other TED Talk, and I will see you all next time.